we're going to start in the Palestra of all places as Indiana goes and takes on Penn State. 77-71 win. Umar Ballo had 25 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 blocks. T.O., and he did it without Malik Reneau. The 2 games that Indiana has played this week without Malik Reneau were their 2 best offensive performances of the season. I don't think that's a coincidence.
You don't think it's a coincidence? I think this one just comes down to the Omar Ballo revenge game after not playing in the last one for unspecified reasons, but we have our suspicions. So he comes back, plays really well, has a different chip on his shoulder, playing without Reneau, so the lane isn't quite as clogged up as it normally is. And while Reneau has been pretty good from the perimeter, it helps whenever you just surround everybody with a little bit more guards, a little bit more floor spacing. All those things help, and you're playing Goody and M'Bako together. And if M'Bako/McTaco/ whatever it is shoots the ball well and plays and is just a threat, he doesn't have to be great. He just has to be a threat. Omar Ballo can have big games, and today he certainly did. M'Bako going 4 of 8, that's big time for them, for this Indiana team, and going up against pressure. So the floor is going to open up, and Omar Ballo obviously had his way. Good for Indiana. They keep the dream alive. 12-3, 3-1. Did we start complaining too early with Mike Woodson? That's my biggest question.
Yeah, that's a question I have too. Tyler, I want to hit you on this, man. Normally when we bring you on the show, you are the first person to tout every big man that we see in the world of college basketball. Nobody loves a good throwback low post player more than Tyler Hansbrough does. But now, is it better? Like, less big guys? You take one of the big guys out, all of a sudden Indiana looks like a team that might be able to win some road games in the Big Ten. What's happening here, man? I'm putting you in an awkward spot. You might have to compliment a team for going small here.
No, I'm old school. I like to have 2 bigs, believe it or not. And I'm watching Carolina right now, and believe me, we would take as many bigs as we could get. But I will say this. I respect this game from Ballo. Fighting through a little bit of adversity, coming out, making a statement game. But also, M'Bako took over to start the second half when it's tied 29, to 29. He came out, had the first 8 points to start the second half, hit 2 threes. And I can tell you, as a big man, I don't care how many bigs you have on the court, when you have guys that are connecting from the three-point line, it opens it up, and it really gives you a lot of room to work inside where defenses can't clog up the lane and make everything difficult for you. So when you surround him with some outside shooting, I think that helps big time as well.
Tio, where do you stand on Indiana at this point? I was ready to write them off on Thanksgiving. I remember on Thanksgiving because it was the day after they got utterly embarrassed by Louisville. They lose by 16 to Gonzaga. They head into the 7th place game of the battle for Atlantis. But since that loss to Gonzaga, they've won 8 out of 9. They got a win over Providence in there. They beat Rutgers on Thursday. They won what was effectively a road game at Penn State today. And all of a sudden, they're sitting here. They're 12-3. They're 3-1 of the Big Ten in a league where Maryland is sitting there at 1-3 right now, right? And it feels like I don't know. Have they turned a corner here? Am I buying too much into it? Am I buying into the hype?
I think you might be buying into this recent four game win streak, because if you look at those 4 games, Chattanooga, good team, but it's not the Big Ten. Winthrop, good team, not the Big South. Rutgers is going to be in the bottom third of this league. They are super talented. They're super fun to watch. But I think this is a discussion for a whole other day. Like, would you rather spend your NIL allotment on 2 top-tier players, or would you rather disperse that money throughout the top 7 or 8 and maybe not have that top-end talent, but bring the rest along with you? I think that's a good discussion to have, especially when we have a coach on maybe during the offseason. That all being said, Rutgers has been struggling. And then Penn State, if you handle pressure, you can outsize them. I like that game. Here's the thing. I think they win against USC, and then KenPom has them projected to lose like 10 in a row, 12 in a row. We'll see how they are after this next ball game. I think they beat Southern Cal at home. That's a long trip for Southern Cal on the must bus. And then you're going to play at Iowa. Tough place to play because nobody likes Iowa. It's the worst place on planet Earth, Iowa. Then you get to play at home against Illinois. You're projected to lose that game. And then it can kind of pile on you. It can really pile on you if you don't shoot the ball well. So Indiana is capable. Have they shot it all that well this season? No. 215th in the country, 32.5% from three. That's going to have to get up around that 36, 37 range for them to do real damage over the Big Ten schedule. But I want to wait and see after this Southern Cal game how they're able to progress.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, right? You get past Southern Cal, and 5 of your next 7 and 6 of your next 9 are on the road, and that includes trips to Purdue, to Wisconsin, to the Kohl Center. You got to play at Michigan State in there. It doesn't get any easier, Tyler. We saw Purdue at home today beat up on Northwestern. I think it ended up being a 16-point final, Tyler, but Purdue was up by like 28, 29 for most of that second half. Right now, who do you feel better about? Because I feel like the narrative has kind of been Purdue is a little bit down and Indiana is a little bit down. But I would argue these are the 2 best performances that we've seen all season from Indiana these last 2 games. Right now, who are you riding with? Are you on the Purdue bandwagon or are you on the Indiana bandwagon?
No, I'm on the Purdue bandwagon. And, a big reason for that is obviously you lose Edey, you're going to take a step back. Just losing somebody of his size and what he does. But I think
who's been great in the NBA, by the way, Tyler? Who's been great?
Absolutely. And by the way, I've always believed that he could be a big time NBA player. Not trying to tell you guys I told you so, but
you can do that. Size, Rob does that all the time. All the time. You just go ahead.
You are a little bit.
Well, his size, and he moves well for his size, has good touch. I hope he keeps doing his thing. He deserves it. Plus, he works hard. But back to Purdue, I think we kind of overlooked how good Braden Smith was going to be and the impact that some of these guys, while Edey was getting a lot of attention, I think a lot of these other guys were really developing in those tournament runs and what they went through. I think some people may have overlooked how good Braden Smith was going to be. Fletcher Lawyer, how the improvement that he's made, and also Trey Kaufman-Wren and how he's come along. And this team has a way of winning. They built a winning culture based off of these years, minus their early exit in the tournament. So I like Purdue.
That's the easiest question we'll answer all day. The answer is Purdue. That's it. That's the answer. So like Braden Smith, he's been fantastic, and it's just Paint or Woodson, and Woodson's been fine this year. I just talked about like they're 12-3, 3-1, like they've been fine. It's just if you're putting them head to head, I'm going Purdue every single time because I know that Paint is going to put them in the right spots. Braden Smith has taken a huge jump, and then as a team, they're shooting almost 40% from three. It's Purdue. It's all day. They'll be fine.